First of all, to those who are back for their second night, we again thank you for your interest and participation in our strategic planning process. For those who may be here for their first night, thank you for taking the time out of your schedules to be part of this very, very important conversation. Just want to go over a couple of things very briefly before I turn it over to Jesse and Terry. In your packets is a reminder that we do have some breakout meetings that have also been scheduled in addition to strategic planning. As we discussed last time, the strategic plan will kind of provide the framework by which as we as a district will be looking to move forward. This framework will provide us the goals and objectives that we as a community would seek that the district be looking forward to working towards. So that's kind of the general purpose. It's kind of the more global perspective of where we want to be as a district over the course of the next 3 or 5 years. Within that strategic plan, we would anticipate that there are two critical issues that we as a community need to discuss in much further detail, and that's why we're having these breakout sessions. The schedule in there would indicate that the first breakout session that we're going to have is the school configuration, which is Wednesday, February 22nd. We'll probably meet in the library, and then just based on the number of people who would be participating, we may transition over into this space if we need some additional seating. So that's on the February 22nd, and then for high school sustainability, that will be the following Monday, February 27th. And then as you can see, the following week, the following Monday, we're back in here in strategic planning, which kind of works well that we'll have at least one meeting in each of the subgroups. We'll be able to report back to this particular group some of the conversations very briefly. We won't go into a lot of detail. I guess the most important thing is I just cannot stress enough how critical these decisions are going to be. And as we further move through this process, I think we'll have a more clearer picture on where we are with some of the more key elements to what's probably going to be a driving force in a lot of these conversations. You know, as we work toward the budget toward next year, as we look to our budgets for future years, we will be able to kind of really hone in on how we can move forward as a district in these areas. So please take a look at those meetings, and I know it's a lot. Pass the word if you know of people who might have an interest. I know it's asking a lot of a very few people to be involved in each of those conversations, but certainly if we can find people to be interested, that would be very helpful. Are there any questions on anything as we move through this process, as far as the breakout groups are?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Jeff, no, Terry. I'm Laura Gatto. I'm a comer, not a drummer. I can't thank you enough for last week for reading our mission statement before we started here. And I would like to read the first sentence again, building on our unique tradition. That was very important. I was on that committee more than 20 years ago. I apologize for my back. I was on that committee 20 years ago when we, as probably as far as a committee, so I don't know if anybody else was on it. I don't recognize any faces, I'm pretty old. It was very important that we were all discussing the same unique conditions. Definitions were critical. We spent weeks trying to decide what this mission statement was going to say. And I last week asked Shay, I said to Shay, I don't have a pulse. I don't have my finger on the pulse of what's going on here. I have no idea what's going on here in high school, what's going on. The guidance counselor was very, very helpful. I'm very concerned because I'm not really sure what I'm trying to do here. Now that might sound crazy, but I'm going on the traditions that we talked about more than 20 years ago, that we were, I'll forget. Building on our unique traditions, the mission of the Pitman School District, in partnership with families and our community, is to educate all students through exceptional learning experiences, to be discerning, ethical, confident citizens. It is the expectation of this school district that all pupils achieve the New Jersey student learning standards at all grade levels. I say I don't understand what's going on here because I got an email today that I know you're familiar with, Mrs. Moody, that all the 4th and 5th graders were decided was they're going to be teaching all the 4th and 5th graders personal growth, puberty, changes in the body, relationship between sexual intercourse and reproduction, ways pregnancy can occur, sexual intercourse, IVF, and surrogacy. Now, not being on the email list, I didn't know that this was addressed at the beginning of the year, that there were discussions about this. That's not a tradition that's part of that mission statement. I'm telling you, I was at the meeting, that was not there. So I think we need to define what our traditions are. And I think it's very important that we consider those when we're making the decisions for these schools. I can't thank you enough, Terry, for referencing that, because I thought about it for a whole week. And I don't think we all know what the definitions of some of these things are, what's going on in these schools, what everybody's trying to achieve. And I'm not sure it's this mission statement. I'm very, very concerned. Sorry to take up the time. Thank you.
And Laura, I would just encourage, if you feel that strongly about it, that I think you need to come out and voice that to the board. I want you to know that there have been conversations. I think those conversations have probably been going on for about the last year, relative to those curricular issues that you have brought forth. The board, I think, has been very open. I think we as an administration have been very open in terms of why we have to move forward. It is part of that learning standard that I thought was referenced within that mission statement, that we do have a requirement relative to the educational standards that we have to adhere to. So it's kind of, if you want to package it in that conversation, you certainly can. I'm not sure that it falls under the word traditions, but that certainly may be part of that conversation. But I would certainly encourage you to come out and we have those conversations. I think probably it's a lot to deal with through this process. Certainly we can, if the group feels that that's something we need to work through. It is certainly something that, at your individual tables, as you work through these goals and objectives, certainly there's something that can be discussed and certainly can be considered.
Well, please let me tell you, I don't think we need to discuss that.
Right.
What I think we need to consider is, what is our unique tradition?
Mm-hmm.
It's very, very important. I'm trying to figure out what's going on in all of these schools. I was in them, my children were in them, my grandchildren were in them. I think that's different. It's not the unique tradition, it's not the same place. And I think I need to know, I need a definition of what's going on here.
Okay. And again, we can get into those conversations if we feel it's necessary for people to be able to get to the final product that we're looking to get to. There might be other venues in which we can do that. I do think it's important that as we go through these conversations, you try to define that word traditions, because there are elements of our educational system here that set us apart in Pitman that are different from other communities. Curriculum, in some respects, could be part of that. If that's a conversation, and that's kind of where I would align those particular topics. But there's many, many other things that make us different. And it's part of the reason for the breakout groups, because that's where we're going to probably get into some conversations about the things that we value in this community. And part of the reason, our purpose here, again, as I said before, is to create that framework for us to be able to move forward into these conversations about what we value, the things that we talked about last time that are important for us, and kind of where we want to go as a district. Because there are some incredibly, and I can't emphasize it enough, huge decisions that we're going to have to make over the course of the next 3 to 5 months that will potentially have a significant impact on our educational programs here in Pitman. And some of them are going to be tough decisions. And there's probably going to be a lot of people that aren't going to be happy with maybe some of the things that get decided. I'm just thinking about the options. I'm not saying that we have an idea of what's going to be decided, but it's going to be challenging. It's going to be very, very challenging. But certainly appreciate the comments and sharing those concerns. Other comments, other questions before we move this forward? All right. Well, we got our work cut out for us tonight. I asked Terry initially, We still are planning with those 4 meetings. She'll give you a little bit more insight in terms of what we anticipate for each of those meetings. But this is a process that we need to work through so we can get to that final product of our final strategic plan. So with that, Terry, it's all yours.
Thanks, Steve. Well, good evening, everyone. And hey, thanks for coming back. You know, you always get to the second meeting and you think, uh-oh, are they going to come back or not? So not only did you come back, we also have some new faces that I saw here. So this is wonderful. Now, if I could find a clicker. It worked. It worked. Tonight is going to be a little bit shorter than last week. And it's probably going to make a whole lot more sense than last week because you've already got the first meeting under your belt. So we're going to do a small recap, then we're going to do our small group work, and again, reporting out. We're going to talk about some more common themes, and then we're going to tell you what happens next. But if you remember last week, I told you that this whole plan revolved around 3 themes, right? The first one was assessing where we are. And that's what you did last week with your work on strengths and challenges. I took your work, Jesse and I took your work from last week, and we have put it all together. And we went and we didn't throw any thoughts out. All the thoughts are in there, but we categorized all your thoughts so that you can see different themes that emerged. For example, under instruction and program, there were a lot of comments about the high academic achievement, the quality of the education, the AP courses, differentiation, flexibility in staff, your visual and performing arts. Those were all listed as strengths. Your athletics and your co-curriculars, your class sizes. I'm just running through a couple here. And then there were about 4 or 5 that were uncategorized. And then we ran through your challenges. And we came up with, obviously, there was one thing that everybody was concerned about: enrollment. Facilities was one. There were some concerns about instruction and program and losing students to other educational institutions, and we're limited really by the courses that we can offer in the high school. There were some concerns in the elementary with duplication of services. Neighborhood schools, are they still feasible? So those comments came out. Marketing was a topic. Staffing, a lot of it in terms of staff cuts and maintaining the programs and extracurriculars that we have if we keep cutting staff. And again, that was all related to finance. So this document is going to appear, and you'll see it probably next 2 days, about the next 48 hours. So you'll be able to see all the combined work. We're going to do the same thing with the work that you do tonight. So you'll be able to see all the combined work of the strengths and challenges and all the combined work on the visions that we do tonight. Once you start seeing that, you'll start seeing that it's makes a little bit more sense as to how the process is going to move forward. So tonight, what we're going to talk about is, where do we want to go? So we already have a good baseline of where we are currently. Tonight, we're going to talk about where we want to go. And even though this is mine and Jesse's favorite piece of strategic planning, this one can also be the most difficult because you have to put yourself into the future. You know, a lot of times we tend to think of things in the near future. You know, okay, what can we do next week? What can we do next month? What can we even do next year? We're going to ask you to go 5 years into the future, and that's really hard. So we have a little exercise for you to work on. It's called our visioning exercise. And here it is. Are you ready? It's 2028. And Pitman is being recognized by the state of New Jersey for their outstanding performance in their schools. They're actually going to hold the ceremony down here in Pitman because everybody was delighted with your downtown. So there's dignitaries coming in from all over the state. Not just educators, but all types of dignitaries coming in to pay homage to Pitman and what they've been able to accomplish. Now for the hard part. Each one of these tables is going to be responsible for writing the speech that's going to be delivered at the ceremony. You're going to tell us what you're going to say in your speech. Now, we want you to include a couple of things in this speech, like what did we look like in 2023, which is really like where are we? What do we look like in 2028? Where did we go? And most importantly, how did we get there? What are the things that we did to get there? Those are the important steps. We're going to ask you to give your speech a title. Don't dwell on the title so much. I'd work on the exercise and then title it. But you're going to highlight those key activities that you undertook to get there. Then we have a student focus piece on there too. And that, I think, kind of goes right in line with some of the conversation that we had earlier here. So what type of experiences, what type of knowledge, what type of skills, what do you want the students in your district to have, and then to leave Pitman here to be successful in the future? What are some of the, and I'm not just talking about high school, we're talking about the entire educational process. What is it that we want them to have? So I said you're not going to write the speech. I don't expect anybody to sit here and do 3 or 4 pages of speeches. What we really want you to do is just bullet point it. Okay, this is what we're going to say. This is what we would have. This is what we would have. The moderators already have pages in front of them, so they can lead you kind of through the exercise. And I'm going to ask now, do we have any questions? Are you ready to get to work?
Think outside the box. VAs always hate this part. There are no restrictions in your vision. How did you get there? What did you do? What initiatives did you put in place? There are no restrictions, which means $16 million. Come up with ideas, things that moved the district forward, that got you to that point in 2028 where everybody wanted to come and see what you did.
So again, it's going to be a timed exercise. We are at, we're probably going to split, I'll come around and check on you at 10 minutes of 7. And then we may go another 5 minutes after that because we still want to leave enough time to report out and get you out of here at 8:30 tonight. So go ahead and begin, and we'll come around to your tables if you have any questions.
There was a lot of good conversation going on. I saw a lot of good typing. So what we're going to do, we've got a lot of groups. So we're going to go around just like last time, but what I'm going to ask you to do is be brief. We're going to ask, when we get to the table, your spokesperson, briefly cover some quick bullets about where are we currently, what do we look like in 28, and what do we do to get there, and then touch on some of the skills, the qualities, characteristics that you thought about it as far as the children. These are all the elements that if you were on the stage giving the speech, these are the kind of points you wanted to hit. All right, so which table up front wants to go first? There we go. All right. Let me get over here with the microphone so that you...
Where we are currently, we have too many schools. The elimination of high school will affect the structure of the town. Economic issue with aging schools and staffing, and low enrollment. What we look like in 2028. We have one large elementary school and a junior-senior high school. Sports teams offered in all disciplines. STEM program, engagement with local business and entrepreneurs, experience-based learning. High school curriculum aimed at not only the college-bound student, but trade-based experience opportunities. Music and the arts. Trying to scroll. What we did to get there, we consolidated schools, old buildings, we sold to a housing developer on the condition that they become townhomes for young families to get a head count up. Program options, STEM, business, business academy, promote schools on its unique features, size, sports, club participation, develop a high school curriculum aimed at students, not only college, I already said that. That's all we got.
skills, qualities, characteristics of students.
The very bottom, the one with the
Oh.
is it there?
Oh, community involvement, world knowledge, think critically, problem solve, experience opportunity, tolerance, and respect.
Very good. Very good. Short, sweet, to the point, and a lot of good stuff. All right. Who's your spokesperson here?
Hi. Okay. Where are we currently? Declining enrollment, dated facilities, unbalanced class sizes and programs, start to merge school community relationships. We're just starting to do that, it seems like. What do we look like in 28? Thriving enrollment, attracting students from surrounding districts, state-of-the-art facility, equitable programming, balanced classes, inclusive special ed programming, strong community collaboration, relationships, sustainable energy efficient schools, work study programs with downtown businesses, expanding academies by including diverse career pathways, entrepreneurships, trades allied health, visual performing arts. What did we do to get there? Grant money, community donations, having a clear vision, specific plan, timeline, action steps, and progress monitoring. And then the why, what skills, basic life skills, importance of community and traditions, and critical thinking skills.
Thank you. All right.
Hi. For where we are currently, under-resourced, limited programs, fewer applicants for positions, facilities, old buildings, a need to retain students, strong staff, impacts on school culture because of a lot of these issues and constraints, traditional ideas regarding neighborhood schools, safety, parents feel secure, community support in our schools, a close-knit feel, and that's it for that. What do we look like in 28? Enrollment increased, larger district population to increase participation in activities, more course selection, more seniors staying all day in the building as role models for underclassmen, world language in elementary school, more enrichment clubs or continue with the ones that we've started, HVAC updates, not talking about facilities anymore, whole new elementary school, a place people want to send their children, educational quality, relationship with kids, a positive community, a place you want to come back, meaning when you go to school here, you either want to work here or you want to raise your children here or have a family here. Teaching autonomy. What do we do to get there? Research other small schools, how do they do it? Compete programmatically with GCIT and other schools. Attract other students to come here, example, tuition students. Increased marketing and PR, strong academic achievement. And the why for students, meaningful learning experiences and engagement, more high school academies, individualized learning experiences, prepared for college or careers, opportunities to explore both options, options for students to take college classes here, competitive sports teams, stellar visual performing arts, competitive arts program, visual representations of diversity, equity, and inclusion, high academic achievement.
Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. Are we supposed to talk about our title too? Because I'm very excited about our title. Okay, so our title is "My Child Has to Be a Panther." We want by 2028 we want everybody that lives anywhere even near here to say to themselves, "My kid has to be a Panther." What? See, there you go. All right. So, what do we currently look like? We have 5 neighborhood schools, 1 preschool, 2 elementary, 1 middle, 1 high school. We have older buildings, and we have budding learning academies. What do we look like in 2028? Success of our academies. Our enrollment is up. In fact, our out-of-district student population has increased by over 50%. We have the best technological advancements anywhere in the region. Our schools or school or whatever that configuration looks like is state-of-the-art. We have a safe environment through dedicated district staff and close community partnerships. That's not just our PD, but our family networks and those kind of things. And we have attracted the best of the best students, athletes, and performers from other local districts to Pitman. That was supposed to say to Pitman, not and Pitman. Let me scroll down here a bit. Okay. How did we get there? The success of our district marketing program. In fact, I think we said it, hired the premier marketing firm from the area to market our schools to the region. Success of our student mentoring program. We talked a little bit about having that connection through different schools, not just having this school sitting here and this school sitting here and this school sitting here, but having that correlation between our students, between schools. Just real quick, I shared, we used to have the program in our elementary schools where the fifth graders worked with the kindergartners. We've lost that now because we don't have fifth graders in the schools with the kindergartners, but we had that program and those kids remembered who that fifth grader was. Like as they were getting ready to go on to high school, high school wasn't such a scary thing because I know him or her, that kind of thing. And some of those things they'll pick up through sports, but not everybody plays a sport. So we would lose some kids there. But the success of our student mentoring program capitalized on the family relationships in the district. We were talking about the families in town who stay here and raise their kids here, and how that could be attractive to other families that want to move into the district that haven't lived here forever, and that's okay, but maybe they'll move into the district and now they've established their family in this community and they're going to do the same thing. Surveyed our district through media and door-to-door to make sure that every kid was counted. Alison was talking a little bit about back in the early 80s. They would put out the announcement. If you just had a child or recently getting ready to have a child or have recently had a child, stop in at the local school, stop in at the board office and let us know that child's out there. And we talked a lot about, touching the families multiple times to really sell the district. So whether that touch looks like just something that they get in the mail from the district as their kid is being born, or that's something that they receive as a follow-up. We talked about follow-up being very important. And then hired premier marketing firm, district participation in our community events, purposefully featuring our students and other strengths. Sometimes we'll have some of our clubs in the schools. We'll go in and participate in some of our events, and they set up a table, and it's very nice. But we need to do a better job as a community and a district really featuring those students and the strengths that our school district has, and a full productive school day. We talked a little bit about with the kids in the high school and not being here all day. Candidly, we got so excited about that first section, we didn't even realize there was a second section down there. So that's why I wasn't paying attention to the titles, because we were writing that real quick. But why? The student focus, what skills? Real life skills, close sense of community and teamwork, a sense of humanity, strong work ethic, total immersion in those rich traditions that we talked about of our district and our community.
I'm sure, like the others, that many of ours, I have a touch screen and Mr. Murray does not, so this is really going to cause me some difficulties. Where we are currently, just highlighting a few that haven't already been said or that took extra care at our table, but the decreased class sizes of where we are now. It was noticed that there's an initial increase in some social media presence, and certainly that we had the safe environment. What do we look like in 2028? The ones that really stood out to the group were AP course options being increased, differentiated courses for the middle school, student involvement in school improvement, trade opportunities, and opportunities for students in sports and the arts. What did we do to get there? The continued reciprocal arrangement with, I guess the other one we had for where we are that has been touched on, but as a community-centric programs and outreach, whether that be in for healthcare or some other things that the school has staff that could be providing to the community outside of school hours. Reciprocal arrangements with RCGC or RCSJ, they changed the letters too much in my lifetime. And also reciprocal arrangements between the middle school and high school to maximize resources instead of, and one of the things were hypothesizing is, instead of moving our staff, that our students are pretty mobile and could take advantage of a lot of those opportunities. In addition to the high school or other buildings, as best as they can, focus especially towards the trades, focused on showcasing extracurricular activities, strengthened opportunities for cross-grade activities, and contrary to some of the others, to really just stop competing with GCIT because, they're on a separate playing field and our school is, doesn't need to compete with them. That was always one of the benefits of being in education, really, for me. Why student focus, problem-solving skills, critical thinking, and really what Pitman can offer best is that well-rounded experience. You can spend your 4 years at Pitman High School or your career in Pitman and not graduate as an engineer. And I think that we should be okay with that being okay.
Okay, so we titled our speech, "We Did This, Look How Far We've Come." Where we are currently, we've touched on this with declining enrollment, losing students to other schools, private institutions, etc. We have some facility deficiencies. We're facing redistricting and or consolidation, budgetary limitations, but it's not all doom and gloom. We actually, in 2023, have an attractive and successful pre-K program, and we are experiencing some success with newly implemented STEAM pathway programs and business pathway program. So leaping off of that kind of guided us into what we look like in 2028. So we're looking at increased enrollment and retentions of students within the district, and we're actually also leaning towards being almost a preferred choice or a magnet school. So we're not losing as many students, we're actually gaining them because of what we offer. We have newly upgraded and modern facilities, for example, fully updated technology labs, communication studios, and also transportation almost in-house to support in-house outreach programs from one school to the other. We have a new career pathway program, or multiple career pathway programs, and basically that is designed on an individual basis. So they're targeted career pathways that support future planning through paid internships, community partnerships, and it's not dictated by just whether a student wants to go the academic route or a trade route. There's many different possibilities there, and the programs are designed to support what their future needs are. We got there with facility upgrades, expansion to both the physical buildings and the program offerings, and effectively utilizing our resource allocations. We've strengthened the Alumni Association for support with that community outreach, possibly grant writing and other revenue attainment opportunities. We've increased community partnerships with our robust downtown area with providing donations, networking, and also supporting our students with the pathway internships. We've increased our personal engagement within the school districts. So I referenced this with the transportation, but that ongoing recruiting at earlier grade levels, maybe once a quarter, is what we're looking at. Similar to District Art Night, that was something that was very successful last year. We have a department or program host an annual showcase and festival event, and that features the offerings and achievements that have been celebrated over the past 5 years. And ultimately, our why comes down to
we want students to have a targeted, individualized program for the future through mentorships and experience, and result in an authentic life skill and community engagement. So this year I can speak from, I'm at the high school, I'm the assistant principal. So this year we had the 7th and 8th grade students actually come over to visit one day. It was a half day that we were on, and we had student leaders, we had our teachers, and they feature their programs, what we offer here, because sometimes the students don't really know, they don't get a chance to come until maybe 8th grade, but 7th grade is a good place to start. So that was kind of the genesis for this idea, to have more of an ongoing recruitment, and even at earlier grade levels, to maybe have not the great, they may not come here, but maybe we have student leaders kind of go to visit the elementary schools and explain what it can be like to stay within district and come ultimately to the high school and engage with parents as well. The 7th and 8th grade students came during the school day. It was just the students, but we also had an 8th grade, 7th and 8th grade open house. So they were two separate. So it could look like that, where it's two separate events, maybe somewhere it's together, parents and students. Many parents did bring their students to the open house as well. So.
Okay, we do not have a title. We were talking too much. We talked a lot. So what do we currently look like is pretty much what everyone has said all along. Low enrollment equaling less course offerings, aging buildings with big budget needs, and what do we look like in 2028? We will have a robust preschool experience that encourages families to stay in the district for elementary school and hopefully beyond. We have educational offerings that meet the needs of all students and are attractive to neighboring towns. We talked a lot about having a very strong special education department that could be attractive to neighboring towns, bringing students in and families in. Great training and staff development so that we can offer great programming, classes and courses, and well-maintained buildings that are updated with the newest technology and facilities. What did we do to get there? We made difficult decisions to downsize our buildings, to consolidate costs, and those savings helped us add additional opportunities for our students, including technology, playground equipment, shared educational experiences outside the district. We were talking about maybe with our students older students going to different districts to experience other kinds of educational opportunities. We also thought partnering with Rowan for staff training and workshops could be something we could explore. And I didn't write this sentence. Enhance our future ready programs through community partnerships and implementing work-study courses, meaning working with the community and the schools. And we didn't get to the last section.
That's okay.
We currently look like we have 1,100 plus students from pre-K through 12th grade that have financial challenges that have impacted programming, school configurations, what we would like to look like in 2028, maintaining the preschool aid, keeping preschool free, increasing our enrollment. I said over 100, but we kept it realistic and just said increase enrollment. Increase social emotional preparation in middle school and high school. We thought that was an important one. Programming for vocational, CTE, career readiness, internship, job shadowing. Keeping Pitman in 2028, maintaining staff, and having the staff devoted to excellence, providing parents with communication which informs them of different information and events, but most importantly, celebrating the success of all students. What did we do to get there? We set goals. We worked with the community stakeholders. We created cross-district plan for pre-K through 12th grade, and we sought out help from outside organizations. Some of the skills and qualities and characteristics that we would like the students to receive in the Pitman School District would be social and emotional coping skills that they can use through life, varied and diversified programming at all levels, higher level courses, and valuable life skills at all levels and abilities.
Thank you.
So I don't want to repeat some of the what we look like. I think they've all been covered. We also had, you know, that right now we have kind of bare bones course offerings, limited staffing, but we still have happy students. So what we thought we would look like in 2028 is we would 8th grades have moved up into a wing of the high school building. The middle school now houses 3rd through 6th grades. Wall School houses kindergarten through 2nd, and Memorial houses the administrative offices and the preschool program. Having a junior, senior high school building has allowed the 7th and 8th graders to begin to feel a connection to the school, and less students are leaving for other high schools. Also, having a combined junior, senior high building allows shared departments across all subjects and has allowed us to have more diverse course offerings without the addition of staff. Enrollment has been boosted by a robust public relations marketing plan to inform parents in Pitman and surrounding districts of the benefits of going to school in Pitman School District. And our athletic programs are thriving as enrollment has increased, with less students leaving and more tuition students coming to Pitman. So we got there by passing a referendum that allowed us to borrow the money needed to add on to the high school building. We sold one school building, which brought one-time funds that we used for other needed facilities improvements. The public relations and marketing was prioritized to boost enrollment, and we sold the Summit Avenue field, which also brought a little more money that we put toward needed improvements. For the skills, we just said basically the same things that everyone else has already said.
Thank you.
We did not have a title, and we pretty much shared similar thoughts to everyone else. We currently have low enrollment or declining enrollment, early start of some new programming, not as diverse academically and programmatically, and we had a significant loss of staffing. In 2028, we have robust college and technical education programs, strong partnerships with local businesses and colleges, increased enrollment. It includes tuition students, continuation of high caliber personalized education that we are known for in Pitman, and wide offerings of study areas and diversity. How do we get there? We came together as a community, worked toward a common goal. We used research and data to build programming that will attract students, created partnerships with local businesses and colleges that are mutually beneficial, and encouraged pride in our academic achievements. Student focus was competitive academic programs and athletics, a small community feeling for personalized education, diversity, equity, and inclusion for students, and a feeling of social and emotional support in the building.
Thank you. As you can see, and as you heard, each group, anybody didn't hear anything that surprised them? Pretty common thoughts. That's impressive because you got 10 different groups, right? So it tells you a lot about you all and your community, that you're not all off in 180 degrees out from each other. You all understand what's important. You all understand what you'd like to see, and it's all pretty similar. And everything you heard was centered around what can we do for the kids, right? Pretty cool.
I think what I got out of it, and you know, Jesse and I on the outside, we're just facilitating, we're looking in. But what I kind of heard is, I think you realize that, you know, there's a time now that things are going to have to change, and everybody's kind of okay with that, but we need to keep our traditions and values in place during that. And that's kind of what stuck out for me in all of this. So you guys did a great job. So we covered last week where we were, or where we are currently. This week we covered where we want to go. What we're going to do with this information is Jesse and I are going to sit down and develop a survey that's going to go out to the rest of your community. That's scheduled to go out, I think, on the 16th of, if you want to advance a slide, on the 16th of February, and I think it is due back on the 28th. Then we will meet again. This group will meet again on March 6th. And we're going to go through all the compiled data. We're going to take a look at the survey, and then you're going to begin to develop some goals and objectives around some of those themes to be able to bring this plan to life. When I say begin to develop, once we start the process, you're then going to have time for the groups to meet outside of this planning session. So there'll probably be online meetings, that's what I'm thinking. And then we'll be back together on the 27th of March to be able to finalize all that work. Now here's the interesting part. We generally only have maybe 3 to 5 goals in that area. So I'm not so sure that everybody is going to be on a goal area. Usually we have a lot of people that have dropped out. So we're like, okay, we have just enough people. But at this point in time, I don't think anybody's dropping out. So we're going to have to put our heads together and figure out how we want to do that to make sure that everybody that wants to be a part of it can be a part of it. So questions moving forward?
Do you want to just repeat? Okay. The camera can't pick up without the microphone. That's okay.
So the question was, how will we put out the survey? So there will be an actual link that will be sent out in the district communications, so you can click it and open it up. I know I did have some discussions with the board about possibly having some paper copies out there, and we may do that too. I think there's a way that we can do that and then get the information entered quickly, as long as we can, you know, pick them up by a certain date. I think we'll be able to accommodate that.
And we can also make QR codes available of the link so people can do it on their devices other than a computer.
The borough also offered to send out with all the water bills. So we did that with the last water bill that went out. On the back of the water bill, there was just a little bit of information about what was coming. If the timing of it is right, then it would make sense that we could do that.
That would be great.
Not just those on social media, not just those with kids in the school.
So the comment was that the township or the borough was willing to send out, if the timing was correct, a notice with the water bills that would have that survey information on it, so that the residents could get that information with their water bills. I think what would be really nice, and we can help you put those together, is perhaps, because there's a lot of people in Pitman in downtown that go in and out of your businesses, if we had posters with a QR code on it, you know, like participate in our survey, and be able to do it that way. Any other questions? Well, we have complete, yep. I don't think there is, but really when you look at it, when we look at these type of surveys, there really is no benefit to anybody going back in there and stacking the box. We haven't really had an issue with that. We're not going to get that specific in it to where people would want to say, hey. We could, and I'll talk to the school about that. The problem with that is if I don't want to give you my email address, if I feel like, okay, why are they collecting this information? What are they going to do? We prefer the anonymity.
So, just to be clear though, with the survey, it's going to maybe whatever we're doing in here, similar to what we did tonight. Like by the end, a lot of them had been repeated. So when you compile your data, if 15 people said this, it's not like, okay, this got 15 votes. It's just a list of.
Yeah, generally this involves a lot of ranking of your ideas. So if we took like the top 7 strengths and we said, okay, the group has identified these as the 7 strengths of the district, put them in the order that you would consider them to be, with the top, from the, to the least. And then with the challenges, and then there may be a couple of other questions in there, but we're not going to go through and ask them the same questions that we've done here because they won't have any context. That was a good question. Well, then we will see you all back here on March the 6th, and thank you very much for your participation.